Hello, I'm Amruta Devi. Blessings in love and light. I wanted to share the stories that I have written during a time of deep perturbance. When you're sitting in a place where a lot of the structure that that you have built for yourself, for your life, um, falls away. These structures could be relationships, they could be physical homes or work systems that you have in place. All of these things that we learn is important for us to have, and as an adult to build and maintain, so that we can be responsible citizens and contribute to community. And when those things fall apart, for various reasons, there could be outside forces, and most times also there's internal forces that are set in motion unconsciously, most times, by perhaps a resistance to really listen deeper to your heart, or the fear of listening to something deeper inside of you that you don't really trust because you've trusted everything outside of you up to this point. And then it starts to fail you. And so you might start looking in deeper, and you might start listening a little bit deeper into those deeper aspects, that other voice inside you. And then you go online and you listen to inspirational speakers and hear other people's stories, and you don't feel so alone. And you feel like the abnormal is maybe a normal. So some things that might feel very strange to you in the beginning, or unknown and unfamiliar, might feel a little bit more normal, or normalizes your experience that you're going through. So for me, this is what I inspire to do, to share some of my abnormal experiences and my writing, and how I perceived the experiences, what came out of the experiences, what I was inspired to articulate and share. So these stories is an attempt for myself to sort of reconnect with some aspects of me that was budding, blooming. It didn't feel like it at the time, but in hindsight, I could see that there was a lot of growth that needed to happen, and even though some of them were very painful, it was necessary. So I call these sharings just my blue nodes of fires. And so I'm going to read a story, and to share with you how this story came about, how it came to, was I was deeply in love with a woman and her husband. And it wasn't a romantic in love. It was the kind of love where the deep care, where these people became so important to me. It was part of my breath. their happiness, their health, all of their universe became important to me. And I cared very much about them. And I felt that they did the same for me. So I gave myself in a way that might have not been the most conventional, meaning that as a grown person, giving up your free will in a sense of like listening, being blinded by the love, just trusting openly to everything and anything that you were invited to open up the breath to, you did, or I did. And we were so different, and our differences also, I embraced that because it was a point of inspiration for each other. It was a point of coming together and making our individual lives more rich when we blended the diversity that we had. And so it was a beautiful dance, and there was hierarchical energies involved, and they came up very strongly because there was an event that happened that triggered the individuals into a state of big pain bodies, meaning that they were sitting in a place of deep separation and experiencing that separation with very limited abilities to access compassion and access unity love. And so there was a betrayal, and there was a lot of power struggle. And so I woke up from that love affair in a lot of pain, and fell into my own grace as I surrendered to the full breadth of it, meaning feeling all of it and listening to what was true and knowing my own integrity and knowing how wronged I had been done, but not only by the people I love, but by myself. That I saw that I had given myself in a way that allowed the tendency of these egoic movements to take over, and it happens. So out of that, I have this story that I wanted to share, and I'm going to read that. And it's called "I'd Rather Dance with the Devil." The most poisonous venom there is the manifestation of the patriarch dressed up as the divine feminine. The kiss will invite you into a dance of seductive treason, and you will feel the assault on your nature only after it has occurred. And that is the most dangerous movement of the patriarch there is. I survived Hollywood in the 80s as a young actress and a model due to my explicit trust in my own fierce nature and the truth of who I am. However, later on, I lost this trust negotiating the male-dominant world of my industry of medicine, only ever so slowly awaken again. But this time, I'm awakening to a patriarchy that is the biggest shadow of them all, the adulteration of the divine feminine in the most clever disguise. The patriarch dressed up as the divine feminine. Does Little Red Riding Hood ring a bell? The Dalai Lama once said, "The world will be saved by the Western woman." Of course. It's the Western woman that carries the darkest shadow of them all, her own betrayal of her own nature, of the gain of power over the egoic mind, leaving behind the wild and intuitive heart. The Western woman is who betrayed her own nature, as she was never native to the land she was pretended to steward. She was never authentic in her own power of love and resolve, as she left her heart and pussy up for sale to the highest bidder for her own gain to glory. This is what happens when we betray our own nature, when we deny our own sexuality by projecting shame and guilt onto others. This is what happens when we reach for the pearls that has been cast before swine. The pearls laced with contempt and malice. You know when the patriarch stands in the room, because as soon as it feels threatened, kindness goes out the window, and manipulation through the most common pathologies running rampant today becomes the dancing steps of the most deadliest tango. I rather dance with the devil himself than dance with the adulterated divine feminine, because she will do what Monsanto has done to our food supply and the communities that grows it, taken the light out of love, the breath out of life, and the sacred wisdom out of knowledge. Our love, wisdom, and our breath that sustains each and every step on this earth is our only source for survival. Our hearts may only evolve through the active sharing of love, our sacred wisdom. Love is the only reason we are here, to create beauty and expand our infinite potential for active compassion and joy. Yes, so if our world is to survive, we will have to look to the Western woman to take a closer look into her heart and examine where she lost her ways, why she sold her soul. You woman, you true woman, who has been burned at the stakes by the patriarch masquerading as the divine feminine, you know the sting, you know the burn, you know the betrayal, the insult to your nature. You know the feeling when the very fiber of your own divine being is being ripped apart. That aspect of your nature that was holding space for hope, grace, and compassion in its most innocent and curious and tender ways. But you also know what this dance means, what it shows you, right? It is, yes, my love, a strong medicine, because it is the biggest and darkest contrast to your light that you will ever come across. It is nevertheless the contrast to our own true divine feminine, to your own true wild, truly glorious, truly free, and liberated and undomesticated divine feminine. You stand tall. You stand beautiful. You stand naked in your sexuality, as you know it's your creative force. It is the force and the source of all beauty in this life and in this world. You stand tall because deep inside every human heart lies the echo of this nature, true love as a divine feminine. This is why the pain and the atrocities will never be the solution. This is why the control, the manipulation, the striving, and the striding will never be the liberation for anyone. This is why one person's triumph over another is never a liberation for the whole. This is why one person's own path to self-liberation and self-reclamation is vital, but not always accomplished, because you cannot solve the problem from standing within the problem itself, as the saying goes. You know when you have been burned at the stakes through the deep betrayal and personal insult, that you are no longer standing in the problem, because the problem is projecting their pain onto you. The problem has become loud and intimidating and brutal, and it will continue so until it implodes upon itself. It will continue so as it will bring itself asunder. We will not feed it any more nourishment, as we will not feed it any more life. I will not sit in the bleachers and root for those who dance the dance of false awareness and pretensions as a way to steer attention away from what is really being hidden. The dance of making that which is sacred wrong and shameful, speaking loud and clear of what is hidden beneath the surface of the golden light. The true divine feminine will always and has always had the last word. If we as species become extinct, remember that this is the divine feminine having her last word with us. If we don't wake up to what is essential and crucial for our survival today, then we will all burn into our own created hell of the patriarchy. The adulteration of the divine feminine, do not call it spirituality, do not call it sacred, do not call it anything else but what it is, treason. If you are reading this and you feel any movement of the patriarchy in this writing, which is here, then I say to you, it is mine to keep digesting. It is mine to keep plucking apart. It is mine to keep slaying in my own personal territory with eyes and heart wide open. I take full responsibility, as I know it resides in all of us to some extent while we awaken from the poisonous kiss, and it's up to each and every one to stand up. Stand up. For that which we know is our true nature, and keep laying down the need for greed, the need for control, the need for power, the need for conquer, righteousness, and manipulation, the need for destroying that which we all are. If you are a woman reading this or hearing this being read, and you are struggling with your own demons of the patriarchy, I invite you to go into Savasana. Be still, my love. Be still. Just like the seed in the ground, if you lay still long enough, the rain and the storms will come and go, leaving behind the assurance of new life. She will bloom through you, and the blooming of you will be magnificent. She will bloom through you a new narrative, a narrative that holds only that which is most precious to her nature. Fierce, inclusive, and unadulterated love. She will not have it any other way. Be still, my love. Be still. I know my own medicine, and I know it is not for the faint of heart. It is for those who has come into awakening of their own bodies and their own psyche. That is what is required. People dance around in their egoic mind and have most of their experiences through this structure, but not until you slay and lay down the relationship and awaken into your own heart and body. You will see more and more what your nature is capable of and what it actually is. But don't be fooled. Don't be fooled, my love. All that glitters is not gold. The patriarchy never seduces the divine feminine. That is impossible. She is the one that is giving you red flags up and down all day long. She's the one that keeps you up at night with the haunting feeling of some foreshadowing that you can't comprehend yet, but you can feel the discords in your heart and your body, and you are not quite sure what it is. But it comes up against your wants and needs, your neediness. The patriarchy seduces your own patriarch in you. That is how you know. That is why when you feel betrayed, the betrayal goes much deeper, because the betrayal is that you betrayed yourself. The betrayal comes back to you. The pain always comes back to you. This is why I'm sitting here forgiving myself for betraying my own divine feminine by allowing myself to be seduced by the patriarch disguised as the divine feminine. It's the story of Little Red Riding Hood on a mass scale. Except this time, she's not naive to the play on the sacred. She's not naive to the grand scam of the patriarchy. She's not naive to her own divine nature, but she holds the innocence. She holds it sacred. It is the innocence that allows us to open up the heart, the curious heart, the wondrous heart, the heart that yearns to merge with itself, merge with the universal heart in its most grandest and ecstatic contemplation of the universe and its players. Be still, my love. Be still and know that she is waiting for your breath of truth to come into your heart. The masquerade is over. And so much blessing, so much love here. Namaste, aho, ashe, and so it is. Amen.